Good morning, guys. So, it's 10 o'clock, Monday morning. Time for our first movement snack of the week. And we're just going to do a little something for the lower back in particular. We've focused a lot over the past month or so on hips and thoracic spine. Just give me 5 minutes. And we focused a lot on hips and thoracic spine over the past 4 weeks or so. So what we're going to do today is we're going to focus on your lower back a little bit. But based on the movements that we're going to do, you will get some hip and thoracic spine in there anyway today. But this is specifically about helping to decompress the lower back a little bit. So what you're going to need is, you're going to need your office desk or some kind of little step. Okay. And what we're going to start with today is just bringing your left foot up onto that chair or desk or step or bench or whatever you've got to hand. And all we're going to do, making sure that all our toes are pointing forward, is we're just going to work into a rotation over the leg that's up. Okay? And because this foot is raised and the hip is flexed, it kind of stops my pelvis rotating, which means that the movement kind of gets driven into my lower back more than it does into my hips. Okay? And you're just going to do 20 nice, easy rotations here. Taking your time, and just like in any kind of warm-up, as you get a bit more freedom of movement, you can start to increase the amplitude of that movement and really start to drive that opposite arm to the front leg, right across or around, making sure that you can still maintain your balance though. Okay? And once you reach 20 reps, you're going to do exactly the same thing, but we're going to switch sides. Switching sides, making sure that I'm not in too much of a split position like I would be for a lunge. I want my ankle, knee and hip stacked here, okay, underneath my shoulders and right underneath my hips into the floor. I've got a roughly 90-degree angle. Okay, if your back or hips are a little bit stiff, what you can do is have a slightly lower chair or step. Okay, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing going this way, is that I'm working into that rotation. And just have a look at what your front knee's doing. Okay, as I'm rotating in, what I'm trying to make sure of is that as I rotate here, I don't want this knee to drop out. Because what's happening there now is that my pelvis is turning as well, and my pelvis and shoulders are ended up staying at the same angle. So what I'm actually getting is I'm getting everything turning together, which means my lower back doesn't get any rotation into it. Okay, so I want to make sure that that knee stays fairly straight and that I'm rotating in here as best as I possibly can without that knee dropping out. Okay, and you notice that that turn is coming from my shoulders, and I'm using my arm to drive a bit more velocity and amplitude into that movement. Alright, and the same as before, we don't want to get too prescriptive with the repetitions, alright, but somewhere around about 20 to 30 is fine, because it's very low load. Great stuff. Awesome. What we're going to do next is we're going to stay with this leg up, and I'm just going to bring myself onto a bit more of a tightrope. So now you can see I've got one leg behind the other. Okay, and with the arm of the leg that's on the floor now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to reach up and over. And you can start to see I'm getting a little bit of translation of my pelvis side to side, which is fine. But what I'm doing here is I'm opening out all of the structures of the lower back on this lateral side. Okay, and I can start with that reach going straight up. It's a little bit less aggressive. Okay, I can use the upright on the chair if I need to, so I have a shot at the moment, but I can add another point of contact in, which decreases the degrees of freedom, which means I've got a bit more balance, and I can actually really focus that movement into my hip stroke lower back. Okay, and the more of a lateral reach that I make, the greater the opening into my lower back. And if I come away to having no point of contact, I've now got a little bit more translation to deal with because I'm not fixed on this one side. Alright, once I've done 20 or 30, I'll then change that position. So I'll switch. Oh, that was my left leg down, so now I'm going to bring my left leg up. I'm going to make sure I'm in that nicely aligned position, so my back foot's directly behind my front foot, and then I'm going to reach over. I'm going to start slow. I'm going to reach up to the ceiling to begin with, and then as I move through the repetitions, I'm going to slowly start to reach over more and more. And if I show you that from this position, here. So again, I've got those feet lined up nicely, and I'm just reaching over here and opening out, and I can feel the muscular structures getting a good stretch down through my lower back muscles, and one in particular called your QL, your quadratus lumborum. Okay, and they're really useful, really simple to do, require no equipment, and they're just going to help to open out the structures of the lower back, particularly around the vertebrae and where your facet joints are. That rotation actually helps to open and gap the vertebrae, and the same as we flex from side to side as well. So you might find you're a little bit stiffer on one side than the other, moving into the rotations and the flexions. That's okay. Same as normal, just spend a little bit of extra time on the side that feels a little bit stickier. And again, the premise of what we've been working to around kind of microdosing these things is incredibly important. Little and often is great, especially if you're sat for long periods of time. Every time you get up today and you fill your water bottle up this morning, you go to the toilet, I'd advise kind of throw in a few repetitions of these things. It'll take you about a minute to get through in total. So enjoy those, give them a go. Remember that we've got 1 foot raised all the time. We'll do some rotations over the front leg and then some side bends as well. All right, and give them a go. Hopefully you find them useful, and we'll see you again later on for some more. Cheers.